Let's start clean. This video will talk about assembling the artist side of the SmartMovement. Load the ant rig up and load up the 4 clips that we worked on. Make sure your project directory is set to SmartMovement Hive Ant folder. Click OK. File and load our rig from the Scenes folder. And go to Compose mode, right click on the clips, and let's load the clips in this specific order. Start with walkforward.mcp, right click again, walk left, right click clip load, walk backward, clip load, walk right. Now they're in this order for a specific example in this video. From here, we need to create a track for each clip that we've loaded. So click on the keyframe group, create a new track. So we should have 4 tracks. Load up the walk forward in the first track. So add that. I'll show you where it's at here. We'll call this one walk forward track. Make sure to name the instance walk forward instance. This will help us in later lessons. Pick the next track, insert walk left, rename that track accordingly, walk left track, and walk left inst. Next track, walk backward inst, and then the last track, walk right. So let's do a quick blending test between these tracks. Let's set the length of each of these tracks to 1,000 frames. Very rarely do we get a 1,000 frame sequence, so we should be pretty safe for most cases. I'm going to set the out here to 1,000. Mouse wheel zoom. Make sure you're moused over on the dope master or within the timeline to zoom out. Then right click, drag, lengthen these clips. They have to move to the end here so that they are all 1,000 frames long. We use the right click so that they repeat, and because they're all the same length, they will all synchronize quite well. Let's do a quick blending test between these tracks. I'm just going to right mouse click, drag between these tracks to add some blend objects, and let's set keyframes on these blend modes here. Use the wheel mouse to zoom in. The blend modes are all within normalized time, 0 to 100, like in percentages. And we are going to blend the first one, let's say just 25, let's see, 15. Pick the next blend. Just going to start frame 18, just picking arbitrary numbers to blend to so that we can see how well our clips synchronize up. So this is the acid test for our out of phase reverse rules that we talked about in the previous video. Let's try this out. Hit play and see if the crossfades work. It's going to fade, which is why we loaded these clips in this particular order. Fade blend between forward to left, left to backwards, and backwards to right, which is a clockwise or counterclockwise motion. So hit play. Start at the beginning here. Walk forward. It's going to start blending sideways. You watch the feet start to move at an angle. And it looks like it's cross blending. Looks like our synchronizing is working as well as I explained it. It's blending to a sideways walk as if it were a single animation. This blend sideways now blends to a backwards walk, which looks correct. And that backwards walk is going to cross blend to the walk right. So everything seems to synchronize the way we want it to. So the other part of this challenge is to allow the animator to key on top of whatever smart motion is playing. Right now we can't do that because the blend modes of the tracks are all set to equal. Any value in the clip gets copied directly or crossfaded directly without any other influences, such as animation curves on objects. If we set them to additive right now, it'll directly add the setup values on top. And that's not the solution that we want. So we need to counter this with motion compensation. Hold down the Alt key and click on the additive, and that will bring up motion compensation. We're going to set these to group, which will use the setup position of our character inside the setup mode. And it's going to subtract that value from the motion that's within the clip so that this character will blend correctly on top of other motion. So make sure this mode is set for all of the clip. And to make sure it works, let's just grab a control and move it around. So middle mouse click, we'll pick the abdomen, let's raise it up in the air, So you can see that we're adding our animation on top of the animation that's already moving. Since we still have these blends in, he's doing his cross blend as our animation is playing as well. So these tracks are now ready for the animators to key on top of our smart motion. Just return this to our setup position. It's going to animate, reset that to all. Just going to right click delete so that it's back to its original position. Also, let's go back into compose mode. Let's get rid of these blends. We don't need them. It's going to make this look a little bit ugly, but these clips we know will blend properly once we have the other structures put in place. Let's go to File and we'll save this scene as ant_clips.fxs.